Good morning, beloveds. I'm going to put out, portrait mode is not my choice. This is Facebook's choice. And so I need Facebook to get its act together because this ain't working for me. I'm about to see if there's some other way I can do this because this ain't okay. Nor is my grammar, but here we are. And our title today is really ironic considering how mad I am at Facebook. So it is November 22nd. Our title is Hell. And our author is Kathleen M.H. Besly from The Divine Art of Living from 1917. Hell, like heaven, is a state of consciousness and not a place of torture. We make our own hell. The Holy Spirit is omnipresent, but if we so elect, we may shut ourselves from the consciousness of that presence. This state may be compared to that of a person who shuts their eyes and refuses to see the sunlight that may be all about them. We deliberately place ourselves in hell when we permit our thoughts to dwell on the negative and unhappy side. When we think of disease and yield to illness, it is because at one time or another we have yielded to sin. If sin were eliminated from human life, there would be neither sickness nor death. When we eliminate the personal God, we necessarily eliminate the material heaven and hell. It is our duty to create our own heaven and to live in it. If that is done, we need have nothing to fear from hell. All right. It's very short. It's one of those things that I think it's taken a little bit out of context. So anytime I read a Bible quote, I always remind you to what Reverend Norm teaches. What Reverend Norm teaches is that anytime you read a Bible quote, you always want to go back and see what in context. You want to see it in context. And so with this one, and with it being published in 1917, I can almost guarantee you it's probably available on the internet. So I would Google her and I would Google her, the book and actually read more because there's a couple of things that we need to know. What is her definition of sin? Okay. My favorite definition of sin is self-inflicted nonsense. Okay. That's, when we make a choice that is wrong, when we make a choice that hurts someone, including ourselves, that is definitely a sin in my book. To fully understand what she's talking about, we need to know what her definition of sin is. I also am a little curious because she said to eliminate the personal God. When we eliminate the personal God, we necessarily eliminate the material heaven and hell. So I'm a little curious as to what she means by that, the personal God. Maybe possibly coming from the standpoint of, I've been seeing this quote from, I think it's Anne Lamott. We know that we've created God in our own image when God hates all the same people we do. Because the truth is you will never look in the eyes of someone that God does not love. That's just it. God is love. God loves everyone. No matter what. There's no one that God doesn't love. And so I'm curious to what she means by the personal God. Because if we eliminate the personal God, and that may be what she means. It's like, there's God, and then there's God that we have built in our own image. And that's a very serious matter. It's one of the reasons why I frequently say, God is well pleased and well represented in you, because your actions, your words, your behaviors show people what kind of God you believe in. So if your behaviors are good, loving, kind, compassion, and all that, then it shows people that that's the kind of God you believe in. You believe in a loving, kind, compassionate, generous God. And if your actions are not that, then it might show that you believe in a vindictive, vengeful God. You know, if you're constantly talking about revenge, well, you know what? Then maybe that's the kind of God you believe in. And so she may be along the lines of, that's one of the reasons why Science of Mind and New Thought will use patterning intelligence, because they're trying to take the personality, and maybe that's what she's talking about, the personality out of God. God doesn't have a personality. God is not an old man sitting in a chair with a book in his lap, waiting to judge you. That's not what God is. God is that spark that is life. You know, there's not a plan for you so much as there are patterns that you can follow. And so it's very helpful when, especially if you're healing your relationship with religion, it's very helpful to go back and look at what you actually believe about God, what you've been taught about God, and go back into the deep beliefs, those subconscious beliefs, and work on that. Sometimes we have some really funny ideas about God, you know, tucked back into our subconscious. They're so deep, we're not even aware of them. And yet we're operating from them. Which then brings us to the conversation about heaven and hell. Because she says it in the first line. They are states of consciousness. I can think of no other definition of hell than to cut yourself off from, as she says, the Holy Spirit. You can't. Okay, so I'm a Star Wars nerd, you know, and I forget which movie it was, but it was one of the newer ones where Rey finds Luke, and she makes a comment about Han Solo dying. And she realizes that he doesn't know because he's cut himself off from the Force. Okay? And honestly, if you look at the way they describe the Force, that is a really good definition for God. The Force. It is the life that flows through everything. So, and so that would be the definition for me of living in hell. When you've cut yourself off. You cannot completely cut yourself off. But you can put up enough blocks that the information that God would give you won't get through. You know, it's like building a dam. Yeah, you're still getting enough water to live, but not enough water to thrive. That would be hell. That would be hell for me. And you watch people walking around in their own personal hells all of the time. And some of that, a lot of it probably has to do with what they've been taught about God. While we may not have a personal God, as she says, we do have a personal relationship with God. One of the most important relationships, and probably the most important relationship we will ever have in our entire life, is the relationship with the source of our own being. Which is why New Thought is such a proponent of Science of Mind. New Thought is such a proponent of regular spiritual practice. Regular spiritual practice is when you take a journey to the source of your own being, and you get to know the source of your own being on a level that you can only do personally. You know, nobody can do it for you. Nobody can teach you about the source of your own being. They can put up guideposts, and they can put up signs, and they can, you know, but the relationship between you and the source of your own being, that's on you. That is absolutely on you. We can all help. That's why I like to say, it's like, I can hold my lamp up so you can see where to put your feet, but I can't walk your path for you. And that relationship with the source of your own being is where heaven and hell can come to fruition. Because if you have a good, strong, healthy relationship with the source of your own being, which is the source of life, which is the source of love, which is, you are open and willing and, acting as that divine channel, then you recognize that heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness that you work on daily. It's not a place that you get to, but it's a mindset, and it does need to be worked on daily. You got to exercise that every day. Point of spiritual practice. And if you're not doing that, and you buy into all of the nonsense that has been put on God, and you are, believing in the old man in the sky with the book in his lap and marking down every little thing you have, yeah, you're gonna live in hell. If God's the great accountant, I'm sorry, that's hell. But again, it's a state of mind. You are literally being tortured by your own idea of God. So, what do you do about it? What do you do about it? Well, pray, meditate, go back and read the sacred literature. Go back and read the sacred literature for yourself. It's been really interesting to go back and read the Bible. And I will tell you to be extremely careful about the versions of the Bible that you read. The King James Version of the Bible is the most common version of the Bible. And that one was translated, that one was created. It was not translated from original sources. It was created with political intent. So, be aware of that. If you're going to read it, that's fine, but be aware that it was created with political intent in the 17th century, and not from original documents. There is a Bible out there. It's HAMAS is the translator, and he did go back to Aramaic. He went back to the Aramaic documents to translate it. His is not a translation from a translation from a translation from a translation. Because if you've seen any of that, just for giggles, take a popular song, go to the internet, translate it into another language, any language, and then translate it back into English. And see if it's still the same song. See what words they change, because that's what the Bible is. The Bible has been translated, and recopied for how many, hundreds of years. It's over 1,000, probably 1,500. And remember that all of the source documents, none of the people were alive when they were written down, because that was an oral tradition. The closest thing we have are the letters of Paul. And, so all of the other stories and accounts were written down long after the people who had been involved in them were dead. They were oral traditions. So, yeah, I'm sorry I got off into the scholarly about the Bible because I'm talking about hell. And people definitely use the Bible to create hell. They use it to create hell for themselves and other people all the time. Which is why it's important to go read it for yourself. Really, honestly. I own, I think, 9 different versions of the Bible. I do not believe any of them are the King James Version, but one of them may be, because I think I got it from a church. And I have done that. I have sat down and I have looked up the same Bible passage in several different ones. And it's interesting, the differences. So be aware of your sources. Be aware of your sources. My undergraduate degree is in anthropology. It's specifically archaeology. And it's like, be aware of your sources. We don't know as much as we think we do. That's why it's important to have a spiritual practice of regular prayer and a spiritual practice of regular meditation, and to make a well-worn path to the source of your own being. All right. Our author today, whose name I've already forgotten, I remember her last name being Besly, Kathleen M.H. Besly, The Divine Art of Living. Go back and look her up. Hell, like heaven, is a state of consciousness and not a place of torture. We make our own hell. That is the most powerful statement. And there it is. The Holy Spirit is omnipresent, but if we so elect, we may shut ourselves off from the consciousness of that presence. We cannot shut ourselves off from that presence, but we can shut off our consciousness of it. And that, my friends, is hell. All right, I need to get off my soapbox because I get to go to work today, but we get out early today, and then tomorrow I have a date with my couch and my partner, and I'm super excited about it. We are going to stay home and cuddle with the fur babies and do nothing. It's fantastic, and I'm super excited about it. And I hope that you get some rest over this holiday season. Now, if I'm going to give you a mission today, oh my goodness, I don't even know. Well, I mean, the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to create our own heaven and to live in it. Because that's the second to the last line. It is our duty to create our own heaven and to live in it. If that is done, we need have nothing to fear from hell. It is a mindset. It is a state of consciousness. I tell you this every day. There you go. Now you know why. All right. So that is your mission today, to create your heavenly mindset and to live in it. And there are a variety of ways to do that. If you need resources to help with that, check us out, info@creativelife.org, or go to the Creative Life Spiritual Center website, or, I mean, you're already on the Facebook page. And we've got practitioners, and we've got ministers, and we've got classes, and we've got a whole organization. We are happy to hold our light up so you can see where to put your feet. We don't tell you what to believe, but we'll teach you how. So, all right. The other mission is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. And I cannot think of anything more loving, kind, and compassionate than to go and reevaluate your idea of God and your idea of heaven and hell. But the basic suggestions are to take a deep breath before you speak. Is what is about to come flying out of your mouth loving, kind, and compassionate? And if it's not, do you need to say it? Or can you find another way to say it that is loving and kind and compassionate? Because we have things that we have to say that are not nice, that are not, I don't want to say not nice, but we have tough things that we need to say occasionally. But we can find loving, kind, and compassionate ways to say it. You know, I've got a coworker who's going through some stuff, and the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I could do for her, and I didn't ask for details because it's none of my business, but I looked her straight in the eye and said, I am sorry for what you are going through, and left it at that. Whatever she wanted to tell me was her, but then she understood, I understand that you are going through something. Do I understand what you're going through? No. But I understand you're going through something. And it means, because I know that I'm going to try and treat you more gently. So, and that's what I'm talking about. And then, take a walk, take a nap, take a break. Especially if you're in one of those where you've hit the wall, then it's the human equivalent of turning yourself off and turning yourself back on. That way you can come back with a fresh look. I also like to say eat dessert first. I'm a big believer that chocolate is the first step to fixing anything, but I'm also going to remind you that what I mean by that is none of us know how long we're going to be here. So go out of your way to make the ordinary extraordinary a little more often. Wear the fancy clothes, eat the fancy foods, or in my case, like tomorrow, we're making enchiladas for dinner. I'm not going to go out of my way to make this huge Thanksgiving feast because I don't even like most of the food. What's the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I can do for myself? Make something that I like. See? That's all it takes. All right. I also want to remind you that joy is a quality of God. No matter what is going on in the world, you still deserve joy. So make room for it. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do to make room for joy, please do that. It goes a long way to creating that heavenly mindset. Joy does. Okay. The rest of the suggestions are basic and easy, and self-care. To drink, to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like for you. To drink plenty of water. Hydration is important. Your brain works better. Your body works better. Your skin looks better when you're well hydrated. I'm not above appealing to your vanity to get you to drink your water. Okay. I do also encourage you to get that early in your day, 7 to 9, bright light. 5 to 10 minutes is all medical science says that you need to help reset those circadian rhythms. And you can look that up. If you want to look up circadian, it starts with a C. So 5 to 10 minutes, between 7 and 9 in the morning. If that time frame is out for you because you get up before the crack of dawn or after, then you can Google either sun lamps or seasonal affect disorders. Lights. They are literally light bulbs you can screw into something you already have. Okay. Yep. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. That is a quote from Ernest Holmes, who is echoing what Kathleen is saying. Heaven is a state of mind. It is a state of consciousness. What do we need to do to get there? Well, that's on us. That's on us. But you can take Emma Curtis Hopkins' advice, look for the good and praise it, which is a fancy way of saying, count your blessings. I love to look for the little goods because it's the little goods that add up to the big goods. And then I can quote Gandalf at you. Darkness is held back by the small everyday acts of kindness by the ordinary people. Okay, I paraphrased it, but I already mentioned Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings. What kind of minister am I? A nerd, a dork, a geek, and proud of it. That is who I am. All right, let me keep this rolling. Look for the good and praise it. And like I said, science shows the 2 best ways to change a grumpy mood is 1, to take random acts of kindness and volunteer work. So, especially during the holidays, that's a great time to do, and everybody always needs it. But once the holidays get through, those volunteer opportunities, like the food banks run all year. You can always volunteer all year with the food banks, not just during the holidays. It's just more on our minds during the holidays. So I just want to remind you of that. Okay. I already said the email, which is info@creativelife.org. I'm going to remind you that we are on most of the social medias. We are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark, and I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Hours of content. Okay. And forward. Oh, then I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day. I really hate portrait mode day. An awesome day, an amazing day, a heavenly day, a loving day, a kindly day, a compassionate day, a check your grocery list day, a be nice to the people in the grocery store day because it's been hectic all week day, a prepping for Thanksgiving day, looking for our comfy pants day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. Because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God. You are spirit in action. You are God in motion. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. Or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you're a godling. All right? Know the truth of your being. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who God knows you to be and peel back the layers of everything else. I liked, society, culture, religion, they all have important things to say. But when they try and stuff us into boxes, that's the problem. Break out of your box. Get to know who God knows you to be. I can promise you that person is good. Probably pretty cool. Okay. Yep. I'm done. I'm going to remind you, Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Yes, I know it is Thanksgiving. I'm going to turn my alarm off, so it'll be close to 9. I'm not sure. I want to go to the park tomorrow and toss peanuts to squirrels. So we're going to have to figure all that out. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.